Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and today, yes, believe it or not, I'm going full-on grumpy cruise dad for the next, 10 minutes or so, because as much as I love Royal Caribbean, even I have to admit, 2025 came with some changes I'm absolutely not a fan of. Like, the kind of changes that make you stare at your phone and go, wait, what? They did what now? So today, we're breaking down the 5 things that Royal Caribbean changed in 2025 that I really, truly, deeply don't like. So buckle up, grab a Windjammer plate, and prepare for some spicy cruise opinions up next. All right, let's kick off this with something that still makes my eye twitch. Royal Caribbean moved comedy out of the comedy clubs and into the main theater because they replaced the comedy clubs with non-smoking casinos. Look, non-smoking casinos, great, fantastic. I love this change, no problem. I love not smelling like a burnt deck chair after walking through the casino. But removing the comedy live spaces and shoving comedians in the main theater, that's a huge downgrade. Comedy in a theater just doesn't hit the same way. It's really hard for crowd work. You don't feel like you're part of the show because the theater is really big. I think good comedy needs closeness, energy, eye contact. But a 1,000 seat theater, you might as well put the comedian on the pool deck next to the belly flop competition. Not to mention, the laughter in a packed comedy club is amazing, but the laughter in a theater, it just floats upwards and gets lost in the balcony and disappears like your willpower near Sorrento's after midnight. Not to mention, you got people walking in late, people leaving early, bartenders in the back mixing drinks like they're auditioning for Shaker and Stir, the musical. And comedy clubs really have a soul to them. They had personality. They had that I'm on a cruise watching a real comedy show feeling. But now, well, it feels more like an after-school assembly where the principal hired a comedian to talk about making good choices. I remember that too fondly. Look, I get why Royal Caribbean did it. These non-smoking casinos are popular, and I like that too. But man, I really wish there could still be comedy in a comedy club. I really feel like it belongs there, full stop. Next up, Royal Caribbean removed the Broadway musical Grease from both Harmony of the Seas and Independence of the Seas. And guess what the replacement is? We don't know. Because there isn't one, not officially anyway. There's just a big TBD floating in the playbill like a lost frisbee. Now look, Grease may not be everybody's favorite show of all time. Some people love it, some people hate it, but here's the thing. A Broadway licensed musical is a huge deal. It's recognizable. It draws crowds. It sets the tone for how entertainment should look and feel on a cruise ship. And when Royal Caribbean swaps out a Broadway musical for an in-house production, what usually happens? Well, in my opinion, I feel like we're probably just going to get an in-house show that just gets a lot of we need more lasers and acrobatics for pretty much most of the show. And no matter what Royal Caribbean comes up with in-house, you're just not going to replicate a Broadway full license show with the same amount of polish. It just doesn't hit the same way. Because at the end of the day, when you have a full Broadway show, you're going to have, whether it's Grease, you're going to remember it. You're going to hum the songs. You're going to know the characters. You probably sang Summer Nights in Your Cabin and Scared Your Stateroom Attendant. But what's the replacement going to be? I feel like we're going to end up with Dreamscape Odyssey, A Journey Through the Magic of Emotions, Volume 7. You know, the kind of show where someone in sequence does a backflip while another person screams, sings a mashup of songs you sort of recognize. Now, I love Royal Caribbean's entertainment, but removing Grease without replacing it with another Broadway show is definitely a loss. Okay, next one hits me in the cruise-loving heart because Royal Caribbean ships have been basically skipping Labadee for the majority of 2025, and well, it's now going to extend well into 2026. Look, I completely understand why. Haiti is going through a brutal, heartbreaking situation. Royal Caribbean absolutely has to prioritize the safety of both guests and crew. That's non-negotiable. But I'm still allowed to be disappointed. Labadee is definitely one of my happy places. The mountains, the ocean, the food, the Dragon Breath zipline, you name it. It's really nice. And in 2025, it really felt empty without it because we lost out on having that option that's there. Of course, having that beach day, the craft market, it's really one of the easiest, perfect port days in the Caribbean, and I love it. I mean, Perfect Day Coco Key is still the best private destination in the Caribbean, bar none. But Labadee definitely has character to it. If you cruise with the Royal Caribbean a lot like I have, you probably have fond memories of going to Labadee, and I certainly do. And while I understand the situation there, and so I'm not faulting Royal Caribbean for not going there, again, I just can't help but feel like something was missing there. At first, they were playing this game of okay, we're going to cancel a few sailings at a time. And then, to their credit, I guess, they did say, okay, you know what? We're not coming back to like spring of next year in 2026, which is good from a planning perspective, but the change definitely stings. I believe Royal Caribbean will return to Labadee at some point, and maybe it'll be next year, I'm not exactly sure, but the effect on 2025 cruising has been a major bummer. All right, the next one is truly baffling. So Royal Caribbean announced 3 ships are going to be getting new amplifications in 2026, which, by the way, I love this change, and Liberty of the Seas is one of them. But Royal Caribbean confirmed there'll be no Playmakers added. Hold on. Playmakers is wildly popular, basically print your own money for Royal Caribbean, loved by families, sports fans, people who like chicken wings, and most humans in general. And it's already been added to both Independence and Freedom of the Seas. And Liberty? Nope. She's the middle child who gets socks for Christmas. This makes no sense at all. Today, that space on Liberty of the Seas is the photo gallery. Now, the photo gallery does generate money, but it's not 1998 anymore. You don't have to go in there and look through printed photos and try to find the weird one that you took and to see if it actually got printed or not. Like, it's all digital now. There's no need to go in there. Everybody looks at the Royal Caribbean app to find their photos. So that giant space has been removed. And to their credit, it was a good idea on Independence and Freedom to get rid of that photo gallery and replace it with a bar, which makes them even more money. So they're not losing out on money with the photo gallery. They've done it on Freedom and Independence. I have to believe that this is a profit center for them. But yet, it doesn't exist. And it's really shocking that Playmakers isn't going to complete the Freedom class trifecta on board. When I've been on Liberty of the Seas, certainly at least somebody I hear ask once a day, where's Playmakers? Followed immediately by me crying softly into my mozzarella sticks. Liberty's refresh is still exciting, but not adding Playmakers, this feels like on a perfect day at Coco Key and somehow skipping the chicken sandwich at the Snack Shack. It's just wrong on a spiritual level. Finally, we have, I think maybe the most controversial item on my list, I'm not sure. Black Friday 2025 sales were noticeably weaker than 2024 and 2023. There, I said it. Now, were there deals? Sure. Some things dropped, some things were okay. But overall, it really felt like to me that there were fewer deep discounts, prices didn't dip to the same lows as we saw in the last couple of years, and many packages stayed exactly the same. I'm looking at you, drink package. Some even increase over Black Friday weekend, which is like, what? Look, I track this stuff like a Wall Street analyst. I've got spreadsheets going back years. I know what a good Black Friday looks like. 2025 was fine, but not great. This is actually a really good reminder to something I tell people all the time. You cannot rely on one sale. You should not plan on it. Black Friday is not a guarantee. Deals swing wildly. Dynamic pricing changes everything. A random Tuesday afternoon in like March can sometimes beat Black Friday by 30%. Black Friday is fun, but this year's sale proved you should book when the price is right, not when the calendar says sale. So there you have it, the 5 changes Royal Caribbean made in 2025 that I really don't like. Now listen, I still love Royal Caribbean. I'm still cruising constantly. I'm still going to be in the casino, strategically investing my money on slots and dining packages. But even the best cruise line has decisions that make you go, maybe let's rethink that. Let me know in the comments below, which 2025 change bothered you the most, and what changes do you hope Royal Caribbean makes in 2026? If you enjoyed today's rant, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully we'll see you in our next video, hopefully at a comedy club that exists again someday in the future. Thanks for watching. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. We'll talk again real soon.